There's a cave over there, on the other side of that hill. That's where I followed her.
Cassandra ran into a cave?
The entrance to a long tunnel, actually.
A tunnel?
What?
Craig mentioned a tunnel. But I didn't know that it had to do with anything. Do you know where it leads to?
No, I never reached the end of it. I caught up with Cassandra about halfway, I think. God knows how. She was running so fast I nearly lost her several times. She must have spent enough time in there to have become familiar with every inch of the thing. I always wondered if it could have led to the orphanage. And if Craig Hunt knew about it, that becomes a distinct possibility, doesn't it? Kelly, would you come over to the children's home with me and look around?
Mason, if it leads there, what does that prove?
Well, I just think if I went back there to where I left her, I might remember more.
Oh, wait, Mason, you said you were sure. You didn't say you wanted to remember. You said point blank you did not kill her.
Because I couldn't. No matter how drunk I was. Dear God, I wouldn't. Just say you'll come. And pray to God that I can prove it to both of us once and for all.
You hardly even know the man. Now suddenly you are his champion defender.
Look, I just know something about the terrible things you can do when you're drunk, okay? That sick feeling you get in the morning, the shakes, that little humming in your head that says you don't want to know about the things you've done and the people you've hurt.
Would you be serious? I certainly hope Cassie realized that it wasn't Mason who left her choked and bleeding and bruised and left to die in a pile of rubble. It was what, a choice selection from the Capwell wine cellar?
Look, I'm not excusing it.
Of course you are. The same way you're excusing what you done when you were Turnell's houseboy.
I was never anybody's houseboy, Derek.
But the fact is I did some things that I'm not real proud of. Okay? I usually did them when I was drunk, so that I wouldn't have to remember all the details. But I never killed anybody, not one-on-one, not face-to-face, not the way you're saying Mason would have to do it to Cassandra.
Are you so sure?
All I'm saying is that it's going to take more than a couple of drinks to turn a normal civil kid like Mason into a cold-blooded killer.
Where do you get the idea that Mason is even civilized?
He hated Cassie the moment she went to the Capwells. Now, Craig, don't you remember what she told us?
And there's a big library right in the house with books from the floor to the ceiling.
No way.
I'm not kidding, Derek. All the way up to the ceiling.
Well, what about the kids?
Well, the girls are really nice.
No. I mean, do they all have their own room?
Of course. Eden's is all white, okay, and Kelly's is all pink. And they each have a dressing table with a ruffled skirt and a round mirror.
What's a dressing table?
You don't know anything, Craig.
That's what I keep telling you. Shut up. What about the other kids? The boys?
One of them is really little, and one of them is away on a school trip to France or something. And the other one, I wish he was away too.
Why?
Well, he doesn't like me, and he's always laughing at what I say. And when I ask him why, he won't tell me what's funny. And sometimes he'll just walk in while I'm alone and start staring at me. And I say, what do you want? But he just won't answer. Finally, he just walks away. And I hate it. It makes me feel like screaming.
Do you want me to beat him up?
When?
Well, I could sneak over at night and climb into his window.
You know what would happen? A burglar alarm would go off, and guards would come and take you to jail.
Well, what's this kid's name?
Mason. But the one who really scares me is the gardener. He's always yelling, and he's really creepy.
Well, he better watch out or we'll beat him up, too. We don't care if we have to go to jail.
And that's why we originally thought it was Pressman who killed her.
Well, just because Mason didn't like her doesn't mean he killed her. I mean, they were kids. He was a kid.
He was a hateful, jealous kid.
How do you know?
Hey, don't forget the time I spent with Cece over brandy and cigars. And that kid had everything. And I mean everything. And he still couldn't manage to be happy. He was eaten with self-pity. I mean, he even resented the attention his parents gave his own brothers and sisters. You can imagine how he must have despised poor Cassie when she couldn't even call herself family. So he went after her, quietly at first, making her life miserable. And then one night, he lost control, and everything erupted. When he followed her into that tunnel, he made sure she'd never come out again alive.
And he was bigger than she was? Remember how she used to contend with the four of us? So I can only imagine what kind of struggle she must have put up. I imagine that's where he lost it. He probably gave her one final push. He hit her head against the rocks.
Yeah, but the blood was not where it would have been if it had been a head bleeding. It was down here at the bottom of the sweater. I mean, it could have been her hand or something, then she wiped him.
Or maybe Mason wiped his hands. Maybe he had a moment of remorse after she fell. He bent over Cassie's body, see how badly she was hurt, and that's when he got the blood on his hands. And when he realized that she wasn't going to make it, he looked around to see if there was a way that he could cover up for what he'd done, and so he must have noticed that the support beams in that tunnel were weak. So he engineered a way for the tunnel to collapse, and so that he wouldn't be part of it.
Oh, that's a pretty tall order, Stephen.
Yeah, but it could have happened that way. Probably did.
Craig, Mason killed her. And he has to answer for it.
So when are you going to the cops?
Not yet.
Yeah, well, there's only so much we can do. We can't make a citizen's arrest. He has to come before a judge and a jury.
That's right. As far as I'm concerned, the only judge and jury that really counts is sitting here with me right now. The verdict is ours, gentlemen. We've earned it.